1, 2, 3, everybody listen when I say use the dollar. There we go, use the dollar.
Hi there, I'm Michael Caldwell and this is UseTheDollar.com. Today we're going to be talking about why our government is so terrible at helping to stimulate our economy. Before we can have an understanding of what the government's trying to do, we have to have a basic understanding of how our economy works. So let's look at some macroeconomics. First we'll draw a simple y-x-axis. We're going to look at what's called the business cycle. The business cycle is really just a way of saying a graph showing the ups and downs of the economy as it grows. Right here we're using the y-axis to represent GDP and the x-axis to represent years. So as the economy goes on, it's going to go up and down, but it's going to go overall up. That's what we call the long-term trend. The long-term trend is represented by this dotted black line. This section being colored in green represents an economic boom. These are the up slants of the graph. The part that's about to be colored red represents a recession. These are the parts, like what we're experiencing right now, that go down below the long-term trend. Now the government, through their monetary and fiscal policies, is trying to achieve something more similar to this, where the business cycle is very close to the long-term trend, very insignificant jumps and falls. So let's look into some reasons why the government can't accomplish this. The very first reason is called the response lag. This is simply put the time it takes for the government to even recognize that we've begun a recession. You see, with all the complex census bureaus and such, it takes somewhere between 3 and 6 months for the government to even recognize that there's been a turn in the economy. So let's look at an example of a response lag. Let's say that this dotted line represents T1, the time that the recession actually begins. The second dotted line, T2, is the time that the government recognizes the recession has begun. As you can see, we are already very significantly into a recession before the government even knows. Unfortunately, though we have now recognized that we are in a recession, we're not nearly out of the water yet. Congress now has to agree on a plan and pass it. As we all know, here in America, bipartisanship overcomes almost everything, including the economy. So we enter into the implementation lag, or the amount of time that it takes for the government to agree to a plan and implement it. So let's recognize T2 as the starting time from where we recognize that there's a recession, and T3 as the time that we finally implemented a plan. As you can see, we're much farther into the recession now, and we are just now getting the plan into place. And though it would be wonderful if we were done now, we're not. We still have one more leap before the government comes riding in on its white horse to save us. This is the recognition lag. Simply put, it's the time for the economy to realize that the government even did anything. Sadly, this takes several months in the average American economy. So, when the graph comes up, we'll see T3 as the time that the government completes its plan, and T4 as the time that the economy recognizes there was a plan. Now we run into a new problem. Before T4 was ever even accomplished, the business cycle naturally started coming out of this recession. So government stimulation is only pushing us into an unnatural boom. By artificially stimulating our economy so far above the long-term trend, we now have much farther to fall down before we can return to average performance. This means that the government was actually sabotaging our economy all along, even though it was trying to help. This, listeners, is why the government will never be good at pulling us out of recessions, and good intentioned as it may be, will only make things worse as it tries to interfere. This has been Michael Caldwell with UseTheDollar.com on why the government is no good at pulling us out of recessions. We hope you've enjoyed this post, and we also hope that you'll check out the website to see the rest of what we've got to offer. Until next time, happy trading.